Yay! Wednesday, February 7th, we're going to continue our Greek mythology and help people out. If you were gone yesterday, then we'll try to help you out as best we can, because you're going to be writing down this entry in your table of contents, because we're doing a bell work, so hopefully your notebook is open. Hint, hint, responsibility. We did change the schedule for those of you at home. We are not doing your checkpoint today. Instead, we're doing a bit more of Greek mythology. We're going to do the checkpoint tomorrow instead. Hero shirts we do today. Speeches start on Monday with a big one for a grade. Big one, I mean, it's 50 points, but you're still only speaking for a minute to 2 minutes, and that'd be it. It's there. Those of you who were gone yesterday, when you go back and watch the video, there's things you're going to be downloading to try and help you out. Here would be the bell work. You're going to have to put this into your table of contents also. Once again, a whole bunch of stuff to try and help you out. And let's see, I think that covers it. With you guys, I think we got through the first 4 when we were putting them into the different spots. All right, let's pick up and go from there. All right, with chaos, the first one, which spot did we put chaos?
Other stuff than God.
It goes into all 4 of them. Well, what was chaos that made it go into all 4? Big ball of chocolate pudding. It was the one that's at the very top of the list up there for the family tree. It was also in the one you downloaded on your iPad. It was the top of the family tree on that one. It was the big ball of swirling chocolate pudding, and eventually it split to form the first 2 gods. Who were the first 2 gods? We didn't really officially get into it.
Mother
Earth.
and
Sky. Mother Earth, Father Sky, which, once again, I haven't officially got to it, so not knowing it is absolutely fine. I was just curious to see if it was in your head, so go you. Hang on, refocus. Focus.
Father and
No, just Father Sky. I didn't name them. So then chaos, because chaos was a swirling ball of pudding, it goes into the other stuff and the thing, and because it creates earth, it makes it a place, it creates the gods, makes it a god. And then Kronos. In which category did Kronos go?
God.
Went into God. And once again, Kronos is the one that's back over here above where Lexi was, but apparently Kronos killed her. Poor Lexi's dead now. Now you're the new Lexi. Or sorry, new Lexi. We have Kronos, who is back up there wearing his adorable mini skirt. Not golfing. Once again, that's going to be the scythe that you use for the cutty stuff that he's going to be doing up there. Also, at the top of our family tree there, also way over here in our yellow one, we have Kronos at the top of that one. Spelled differently in all those spots. Why is it okay it's spelled differently? There you go. That's the level of excitement I'm looking for. The things change over time because of oral tradition, which means I'm fine with you spelling them in different ways on quizzes and tests, as long as it's close enough for me to figure out. Then we got to Hades. And where does Hades go?
God. Or place.
Or place. It goes to both gods and places. Once again, above New Lexi, we have Hades, which is right up there. Was Hades evil?
No.
What was it?
It was shy.
He was antisocial, just didn't want people talking to him, which made him a little on the grumpy side. People kept talking to him, so he lashed out. That's why he kept getting himself in trouble. But Hades himself was not actually mean or evil, just didn't want people talking to him. He was also not very creative, so when he got the chance to name the place where he lived, what does he name it? He names it Hades. And so that's, and what was Hades' middle name?
Hades.
So Hades, H. Someone watched the video yesterday.
I did.
Hades, and so the name of the place where he lived with Hades. Did we, before we get to that one, but we couldn't say his, why could we not say his name out loud? What was the worry?
Because like Bloody Mary kill you.
He would just pop up and grab you. Now, it wasn't like a shark like Jaws, where his hands are like and like grab you. The thought was he would actually appear in front of you for a conversation, and then because of the whole antisocial, would pull you down to the underworld. So people would never say his name. Instead, you use a nickname for him. The Dark One. Did we get to why
rich one?
The rich. Did we call that in this class? The rich one.
Yeah.
The fact that he was the only one, the god that had the bling, the grill going and stuff like that. All the gold, the diamonds on his teeth.
Mining in the underworld.
There you go. The mining down there, stuff for him. Did we talk about hell with you guys yesterday?
No.
Let's touch on that real quick.
And I was like, oh.
I don't know, he said a word. Greek mythology is different than Christian mythology, or the religion. Because with Christians, the idea of hell and the devil and the roar and the poking and the fire does not exist in Greek mythology. In Greek mythology, the underworld was just everyone that was dead. Regardless if you were good or bad, there was no burning, there was no evil. If you ran around catching babies falling out of buildings, you went to the underworld. If you spent your whole life throwing babies out of buildings, you went to the underworld. Everyone went down to the underworld. There was no torturing of humans down there. You were just dead. And it wasn't fire, it was just a cave. You just wandered around going, rock, rock, ooh, new rock, rock. And that was it. You just wandered around the whole time being dead, pointing at rocks. And that was pretty much all of it while you were down there. The idea of the burning and the fire came thousands of years later with Greek mythology, with Christians, and the idea of the devils and the burning. You want to know if I was going to charge the kid points who still has his iPad out? I don't know, probably. You know, kids make poor choices. Oh, you have a different question. Noonan, what's up?
Isn't there a movie about the underworld?
Probably. There's lots of
Hercules.
Could be. I don't know either. But yes, definitely. I saw it 4 times. It was a great movie. Then it goes to the nickname for the place where he lived, because we could not say it out loud, was?
Underworld.
So that's why that one goes down into places, because we could not say the name of the place either, because he was not creative and named it after himself.
Hades. Come up
You
here.
guys are going to make him appear. And so that goes to all the ones that we did before. Now our new ones. Titans. Now look where you put Titans.
God.
Don't say it out loud, yes. Raise your hand if you put it in gods,
Wait, what is it?
places,
Wait, what?
things, other stuff.
It's everything.
Titans are gods. They're the exact same thing.
All
All of the big posters you see around my room, those are all Titans. The little posters you see around my room, those are Titans. The ones in the pictures over here, all of one of them are Titans. It's Titans and gods are the same thing. It's like saying humans and people. They're all the same. But Mr. Brovicast, what about the Titans versus the Olympians? Well, Olympians are just a type of Titan. It's just a Titan that gets to sit on a throne. It's like saying the heroes versus the 7th graders. You're still 7th graders, you're just taking on all the rest of everyone else. It was the same thing with the Olympians. They were just a special Titan, much like many of you are special. It's the same idea. Not all of you, just the ones talking
So
about
you're the
that.
special
That's not
Titan.
me. Stop calling me slow.
Mercurial. So take a look where you put Mercurial. Gods, places, things, other stuff.
Other
I
stuff.
don't even know where.
Mercurial actually goes in other stuff.
Totally.
It's actually from Roman mythology, which is connected to Greek mythology.
That's us.
On a yellow sheet that's over here, it has all the Greek name and then the Roman name. On the sheet you downloaded where it had all the names of gods, it had the Greek name and then the Roman name. It was just another name for the same gods. Like we have English and Spanish, you can say hello or you can say hola. Same idea. It was just a different language. Hermes, the guy that's right over here, his Roman name was Mercury. And so the word mercurial comes from that. It just means to change quickly, because it comes from the god of speedy and fast things. By the way, the Roman gods is where we get all of our planet names from. Mercury, Mars, Venus, Jupiter,
Earth,
Saturn, Pluto.
and the stars.
Not only do they,
Rain.
and I think I did remember talking yesterday, this was the time where most kids lose most of their B points because the whole being excited about learning things. I know.
I've never learned before.
No one's excited
Help you with
Why are you
the learning.
staring at us? It's not me talking.
Still talking. I know. Learning. The reason they named the planets the way they did, the planet that moves the fastest around the sun is Mercury, named after the god of speed. And then you have the one that's the farthest away from everything and was the darkest was Pluto, named after the god of the underworld. And then you have the Neptune, was a planet that looks blue because it was named after the god of the ocean, which is Poseidon. So each one, there was a reason why that planet has its name. Mars was a planet that was red, named after Ares, the god of war. And so that was the connections for those. Olympians. Does Olympians go into gods,
Yes.
places, things, other stuff? Olympians goes into gods. They're just a titan that gets to have a throne. So in here, to help you with which ones, the big 12 posters, the 6 that are over on that wall, and then the 6 that are over on this wall, those are the 12 Olympians. There can only ever be 12 at any one time, because there's 12 chairs, and you have to sit in a chair to become an Olympian, so you can only ever have 12. There's thousands of other titans out there. There's just like, there's a whole bunch of 7th graders, but only very few of them get to be heroes. It was the same thing here. There's a whole bunch of titans, but only a small number of them got to be an Olympian.
Is this Olympian?
Atlas. Figure out where you put Atlas.
God.
God, place, thing,
No.
other stuff. Atlas actually goes in 2 spots. He has a 50-50 chance. He was a god, and then we name a thing after him. And so, well, we'll get to one. Atlas is probably one of the gods that there's a chance you've seen a picture of previously. If you've seen a picture of a guy holding a giant Earth on his back, that's Atlas. That was him holding the planet Earth on his back, which is a story that we'll eventually get to. An atlas is also something that you'll probably use in social studies. It's a type of book. And an atlas is a book of maps. The reason it's called an atlas is it was named after that god. Because Atlas, the guy holding the planet on his back, was on top of a really big mountain, and it was thought that he could see the entire world from where he was, so he could see everything. If you have a book of maps, you can see everything. So they called that book of maps an atlas, because it was named after the guy who could see everything up there.
Is everything
So-
the same thing
A lot of it, that's why we get into it, because it pops up
Stop.
everything. Styx! So close. Is Styx God, place, thing, other stuff? Styx actually goes in 2 spots. You have a 50-50 chance. If your guess was 1970s rock band, good guess, but not quite here.
Yes.
Styx was a god, and then eventually became a place.
What?
The place goes back here above Newnham. I'm sorry, New Lexi. In the picture at Hades, Styx is that river that goes and separated the underworld from the rest of the world. Styx was the river that was down there. But Styx was not always a river. Styx started off as a god, a titan. And she lived for a long time until she did a favor for Zeus. And Zeus granted her one wish. He said, you can have anything you want. Her wish was to turn into a river. Why? I have no idea, because people have issues. And so he said, fine, we'll turn you into a river. And she turned into a giant river. Problem was, while she was alive, she was a horrible person. She was mean, she was nasty, sarcastic, evil, no one liked her. When she turned into a river, her personality poisoned the river. And when it poisoned the river, it became one that no human could touch. If a human touched the river, it would kill them instantly. Zeus originally had the river Styx up on Earth. The problem was, it kept killing people. They would just walk up and like, hey look, there's some water. Bah! They'd fall down dead. And they'd have just a river with a bunch of dead people lined along it. They're like, well, we probably should move that river. It's getting kind of contaminated. So Zeus moved the river and put it down in the underworld. How do you move a river? Big hands and a bucket, I don't know. And so he picked up the river and then put it down in the underworld, with the idea being it can't kill anyone in the underworld because they're already dead. And it separated then for anyone trying to get down there from the uppy world, I think that's the official name, to the underworld. And so you had this giant river down there.
But how big is the butt?
I know what
Having
that
bigger
girl
than the river,
sounds like.
I hope, or maybe use lots of trips. I don't know.
Urine.
Scythe. Scythe. God. Place. Thing. Other stuff. We'd mentioned scythe yesterday. It's a thing. It's the golf club that Kronos is holding right up there. A scythe is have you ever seen the Grim Reaper? It's the
Yeah.
stick with the blade that comes off the top.
I thought it was a
That's
stripe.
a scythe. Now, with the scythe, with the Grim Reaper and the scythe, Hades never uses a scythe. It's never something actually from Greek mythology. He has something else that he uses, but that image of a scythe is used by a different god, a guy by the name of Kronos, and he uses it to kill his dad, which is a story we most definitely get into.
Wait, he killed his dad with a golf club?
Well, it's a scythe, but yeah. It's a golf club with a long end on it. There's also a thing called a sickle, which is a little bit different, and a sickle is just a scythe
Farming.
with a handle on the top, and that's what you would use to sort of swing it around.
It's a small little...
Both of them are used for farming and to cut down crops and stuff like that. So when you'd walk through the field and you'd cut them down, that's how you would harvest things. Now they use tractors, but that was the scythe. He used it to chop down his dad.
I saw you before.
Looking at you very creepily.
Yeah, that happens. Then we get to Gia. With Gia, gods, places, things,
What?
other stuff. Gia goes into 2. Gia was both a god and a place.
Told you, I called it again.
She was known as Mother Earth. And so Gia is the same thing as Earth. Because she was Earth, She was a place that you could visit. I mean, technically you're standing on her right now. But you could also talk to her. She had conversations. And so Gia was from our the family tree. She was the very first one that was up there. On the one that you downloaded, Gia was up there on that one too. She was married to another one, which is the next one on our list up there. Wherever we put Gia, you're also going to put Uranus, because the two of them are connected.
Oh, I thought it was Uranus.
Yeah, I thought it was cute.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too. But Gia and Uranus were the very first two couples. They were married. You had both him being Father Sky, which was a location. You could actually go through the sky, which was him, and you could have a conversation with him. And then same thing with Gia. You could have a conversation with her, and it was also a place.
So if I was going to
The official Greek-y pronunciation of them is Gia and Uranus. But I also realize I teach 7th graders. So when you say those names, you're not going to say them the official way. You're going to say them the way that's going to make you giggle every time. And you're going to call them Gaia and Uranus. I've gotten used to it. That's fine. Just realize that when I refer to them, I'm going to use the official names just so you hear Gia and Uranus. And in your heads, I'm pretty sure every time you're going to translate it into, you mean Gaia and Uranus? Giggle, giggle, giggle. Now, of course, that does mean the very first couple in Greek mythology was named Gaia and Uranus, because apparently the Greeks had a sense of humor. Or they were just never planning on teaching 7th graders. But those are the very first two couples that were up there. That's why they're at the very top. They're the ones that got, when chaos separated and formed those two. All right, next one. Nike. Is Nike going to go in
It's a thing.
God, place, thing, other stuff?
It's 3.
Nike is just a god.
What? Is that a shit going on?
Oh my goodness, like I'm going to talk, have patience.
I'm not
Nike,
talking about
in
shoes.
Greek mythology, was a god. She was what's considered a minor god. She was a titan, but she was not one of the big major ones. But she was the god of victory in Greek mythology. She hung out with this girl over here by the name of Athena. This one. She hung out with her. Now, with that picture, it's a screwy picture. I don't know why. It makes it look Athena's like a midget and it's a giant horse. I think the artist was trying to do the fact that Athena was far away and the horse was up close and she's pulling the horse backwards to her. But apparently they never really passed 7th grade art class. But Athena was not a midget. She was a normal-sized titan, and it's not a giant horse. It's a normal horse. But anyway, Nike was just a friend of Athena, and they hung out. Nike was the god of victory. Not only was she the god of victory, she is the only titan to have wings. No other titan in all of mythology had wings. And she was thought to fly around. Anytime there was a competition or a war or a battle, you would sometimes see or think that people would see her up there flying around, bringing victory to people. Fast forward all the way to the late 1960s, and there was a shoe company who is coming up with a brand new shoe type that they think is going to allow people who wear their shoe to win all the sporting events, because it was when the whole idea of having a shoe for sport was becoming popular. They decide to name their shoe company after a Greek god that will bring victory to anyone that wears their shoe. That shoe company is, and that's where Nike comes in.
Is that real? Is that true?
Yeah, that's why I'm telling it to you. The symbol that's on the side of Nike shoes,
A check mark.
what you see as a swoosh, is connected back to the god, because that god was the only one to have.
Wing. And you flip it upside down, it looks like wings.
And it's not even flipped upside down. The idea of that swoosh is supposed to be a wing as it sweeps you forward to victory. So that symbol is supposed to be the wing as it goes through the air and makes a little swooping thing. That symbol comes back to Greek mythology.
They're doing their own thing.
So that's where we get Nike. I wasn't charging you to teach you.
Yes.
Other kids keep drowning you out there talking, so it was
Oh my gosh, did you charge me before?
If I do it again, yeah, you just
No,
keep talking.
no,
It's okay.
no.
And then we get to Trident.
God.
Well, not gods, okay. We're talking about gods.
I said gosh.
Oh,
I don't
sorry.
say that.
No,
That's
how?
not good for your health.
You're still talking. Trident. See where you're going to put that one.
Oh,
And
that's
so
a god.
Trident goes
That's
into
a thing.
God,
Boy.
place, thing, other stuff. You're correct. It is gum now. It was not gum in Greek mythology.
Isn't that a trident? The thing beside it?
That's Triton.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I looked it up.
Zeus's
But
thing.
King Triton is actually the son of Poseidon in Greek
Oh, I
mythology.
said Zeus. I meant Poseidon.
He is an actual person from Greek mythology.
Because it controls the animals in the water.
The trident is the one that's up here in Poseidon's hand. It's the stick with the 3 points at the end. Also over here, it's harder to see in that one, but he has a trident in his hand in that one. And then this one's a little easier to see depending on the reflection, but that's the trident there.
It goes
Ariel's father.
Trident, because tri meaning 3, dent meaning to put hole in something. And so a trident was the little 3-pronged thing that allowed Poseidon to control water and animals. It was a weapon that was given to him in a story that we're going to get coming
Yeah,
up.
I knew that.
Tyler?
I saw SpongeBob holding one.
Yep.
Like, SpongeBob
And that's from also in Little Mermaid. They talk about King Triton, and it's also in SpongeBob they talk about King Triton, who is actually Poseidon's son. So it's close to trident. It was called Tritoa. So they make that reference. Sacrifices. The sacrifices go in gods, places, things, other stuff. I can see it depending on how you look at it, either things or other stuff. I put it into other stuff just because you can't actually touch it. But with sacrifices, they play a big role in Greek mythology. They did not sacrifice people. That's a whole different culture. But the Greeks did sacrifice, but you had to sacrifice food. If you've seen the lightning thief, when they sat down to a meal and they throw the food into a fire, that's actually pretty close to how Greek mythology worked. Every time you ate, you'd have to give up some of your food to the gods. You would also give up food to the gods if you wanted something. If you were trying to make someone fall in love with you, you would sacrifice to Aphrodite. If you were a farmer and your crops were coming due, you would sacrifice to Demeter. And so you would also sacrifice to them. When you did, you would just take food and you would pray like, Demeter, make my crops grow, shake my honeycombs, honeycomb, honeycomb, honeycomb. And then you would go and offer it up to the gods, and that's all that was involved.
Were they friends?
Oh yeah.
Because they both had like.
Aphrodite was
She's
not
like
love.
the god of beauty.
I bet. But are they friends?
Aphrodite wasn't friends with any of them. Aphrodite was kind of a mean person, but we'll get to
She's
that.
cocky.
And Cyclops. Put Cyclops in gods, places, things, other stuff.
Cyclops head.
Technically, Cyclops were considered one of the gods. But I put them in other stuff. But they were technically an immortal god. They were actually older than all the Titans. They were the older brothers of these. There were 3 of them. And Cyclops were the ones that were the giant ones with the one eyeball in the middle of the head.
Hey guys.
Cyclops, by the way, to break it down into the words, the CYCL, you should recognize that base from bicycle. Now, you know what the CYCL means in bicycle? It means 2 what?
People.
2 wheels. CYCL means wheels. You guys ever gone to an optometrist?
No.
It's a
Oh,
doctor.
the eye doctor?
Eye doctor.
Oh.
Op means eye. Cyclops meant wheel eye. It did not mean one eye. And we'll talk about why. We don't get a chance to come back to this until next Wednesday.
What?
Because we have library, secret word, and checkpoint, and me charging kids points now.
No.
And then Friday, we have secret
Oh,
word.
now?
Apparently so. And then what starts on Monday?
The narrative speech.